it's again, it's not that black and white. It's, you know, what is your monthly budget, and what is the best way to drive this most significant ROI for that budget is what we do. You know, and when do you need that budget? When do you need that revenue to come in? Because SEO is a very
go
large.
back down. So if you're looking at that, you said you're at a ranking of a 7 here, just from your organic description of the chiropractic care. So 7, depending on what the search engine was and where they were.
So again, 7, you have to think of it this way. It's something like 90% of traffic doesn't go beyond the first page. So
Correct.
7, you're not even here.
Correct, that's what I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
you really should be the top 3.
Right.
Because on my phone, I can only see 3 unless you do more places.
Right.
So is
Then
it,
you'll pop up. And
So-
those aren't necessarily paid, that you would have to pay to get to the top 3 position.
No, you can definitely make a quicker impact in the Google places than you can in
Correct, in the
the
app.
organic. But, so, after 9 to 12 months, I think, when I was, you know, at my house, I typed in marketing, and I was the first one there. Does that mean that the phone was ringing off the hook and I had more business? No.
No.
So, if I was investing a significant amount monthly and not doing the work myself, is that the smartest play for my business? Probably not. So if I want to drive relevant phone traffic, maybe pay-per-click, maybe social, maybe, you know, community
Right.
engagement. So it's really a strategy decision. You know, this is one component of an overall strategy that, you know, I never come in and recommend one over the other without a full exposition, or at least as much as possible with the client.
so following up on the piano teacher example?
That's right with
We did a
me.
case study tonight.
That's right.
Would it be a strategy for her then to try to find just something unique in the keywords, even if it wasn't what she would first think of, but find what nobody else has so that she could raise up in the rankings on Google?
So if there was a particular technique that you were superior then and could successfully communicate that through content, et cetera, then yeah, I mean, that'd be something we'd probably hammer through across multiple channels. So, yeah, I mean, the key
So
is
even if
what
you're
do you
obvious,
do?
even if she had 3, you know, major strengths that she would typically market, it might be to her advantage to market some 4th or 5th one because nobody else is marketing? Not really? Okay.
Or could she know the
There's
top
there's
3?
not a clear line
not
to
like
it.
that.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, you know, ultimately what happens a lot is we move forward, you know, 3-6 months and start to get data, and then we have to pivot because the data is, you know, oppositely indicative of what we were trying to set out. So, you know, it's, what you're doing now is kind of throwing a dart and seeing if it sticks, and maybe you're judging the return on it, maybe you're not. Whereas this, you really start to get some data, and you can start to beat up that data and see where the opportunities lie and where you can, you know, shift the spend to maximize return.
So as, back to what you were saying earlier, at one time you were at the top, and now you're like on the rank 9. So could she look at the top 3 and see what they're doing, follow what they're doing, and build off of those word searches, Facebook, media, and that would help drive her back up to the top?
Sure, and the tools that I'll share will also give pay-per-click spend, they'll also,
Perfect.
yeah, do a complete strategy.
In general, is it correct to say that the more common a search term, the more you're gonna pay per click for it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty safe assumption. It's not universal, like completely black and white, but, yeah.
In general, though?
Say, Joe, what about if you actually are blogging too along the same subject areas, whatever you're doing and what your website might be? I would think that's going to give you more social presence out there that the search engines are going to come up with.
Sure, so best practice would be, you know, posting a blog article and then sharing it throughout your social as a way to drive traffic back to your website. So ultimately what you would benefit from is the increased traffic, increased engagement, and increased duration on your website. So,
Earlier you said the white hat, black hat was to not link yourself back into a comment? Or was that?
in a forum.
In a forum?
Yeah, it's a kind of shameless plugging if you're doing it in a forum. Like you're supposed to, you know, the whole point of these online discussion forums is
Discuss
free and open discussion and sharing of ideas, not shameless self-promotion. So.
But you said it's positive, it's a good thing to do to just be in the forum and comment on it, but don't type back. Google picks that up. You don't have to.
Yeah, so links is when it's a direct back. Citations is when your name's out there. It's something industry related, but it's not a backlink. So they track citations too.
So you would make your comment and then put your name and that would cover it?
It's usually you have to sign in to make a comment in most forums. I know a lot of people now are discontinuing, I think NPR just discontinued their forums, so it's harder and harder to find. So from a back-end user perspective, websites we manage that have comments open on their blogs, we have to continually maintain and update because what will happen is a Russian pharmaceutical company will find that we have comments open on our site and they'll just spam us.
Yep.
So that's why it's bad practice. Are you going to get dinged for making a relevant comment and putting, for more information here? Maybe, maybe not, but that'll be one ding versus 1,000 dings on 1,000 websites that some of these, companies that are taking advantage really do.
Well, I'm just thinking of like YouTube, that would be something more relevant to the piano teacher, because I'm more in her, I'm not a piano teacher, but I'm more in that category. Anyway, so I was thinking of like YouTube and, you can comment on videos, so I was thinking about the commenting on videos, because that is, related to commenting. And like, so if I was commenting on videos, I could just like, you could have like, you put your comment and, well, I mean, just putting your comment links them to your thing, but maybe instead of having your website link, maybe your title, in your comment, your,
Okay.
CEO of whatever company, I don't know. But then it's not a direct link to your website. I don't know. Yeah.
So the on-site SEO report continues with page count, the page titles. Again, we talked about meta descriptions, incorporating the keywords, heading tags. This is all the coding, but again, it's subjective and they rank for it and they're able to pull it and put it in a report. Primary keywords and page title, physical address on each page, that's a huge one. Google Map on Contact Us page. And this, getting back into the local directory listings. So again, you just type in and it comes up listings found, listings claimed, with description, with photos, total reviews, and then it lists which ones you have, and then it actually goes through, pulls them, so you know which ones to update. So this is what I was talking about, where if you have, a number sign in front of your C on one and a suite on another, maybe a human, that's not as subjective can see that that's the same location, but a computer sees all these as different phone number, different ad, different name. So the consistency there is why it's
Even the
important.
spacing between the parentheses came up different. I have a first line, phone number.
Yeah,
On the
right.
phone number, yeah.
Yeah, no parentheses. So it seems like such a little thing, right? And you could be doing it thinking you're doing good because you're getting your name out there more and more often, but if it's not identical across channel, then it's missing out.
I have a quick question. So, if you were like a musician, and I was just thinking about the commenting like on YouTube videos, would that even be worth your time? I mean, I was just thinking on that, like, because like musicians usually have like their own, YouTube channel. So, usually you're watching other people's stuff anyway. So you just can comment on other people's videos.
So I'll just stop. First, YouTube is incredible for video content as a tool to link back to your website. I don't think a YouTube channel and the comments on that channel aren't going to help with SEO.
Okay.
So, and again, unless they're linked back to your website, you think, as I mentioned earlier, the hub of your strategy. So everything contained in your strategy, if you're getting into digital, should be in driving traffic back. We talked again about the analytics and how the number of visitors, their frequency, the time they're spending on a page. This is all what you're being judged on from the Google Analytics standpoint of SEO. So you really want to focus on driving people to the page and keeping them there. And again, how do you do that? It's with valuable content, whether it's copy, whether it's video, whether it's images, shared through social. So the Google Local, again, they got this frowny face, if you recall. They didn't have a business on Google Local, which this was a missing opportunity for them. They were able to clean that up quickly. And then looking into competitors, depending upon your tool, this may or may not be accurate. Majority of them will be, but every now and again you get an outlier that's listed in an industry that you entered, and it's not correct. So be careful when you're entering that information.
Is it a good idea to have on the first landing page of your website, to have some sort of an image?
If it's labeled correctly, yeah. And again, so the homepage may not be where you're steering people, right? You mentioned landing page, so it very easily could be your homepage, or it could be a specific subpage based on the content that you're sharing. So, yeah, images on pages, as long as they're titled correctly, are a ranking factor. So without a doubt, it's just a matter of what's the strategy to guide them there, and what's the path that gets them there. That's kind of the thought process you have.
So can you go back to the prior screen there? Thank you. So here you're saying this adjusted the World Chiropractors ranked #1, and there's no description added, but he has 34 photos, 68 reviews, and he's rating it at 4.9%. So did the photos and possibly just some other fields got him up into that ranking?
With
Just from your
reviews,
experience here?
so you'd have to see where the reviews were tied from, because they didn't have a Google My Local page. So, obviously if Google runs search, having a majority of reviews on your Google listing would be very beneficial. So depending upon where they had the reviews listed, if they had a separate standalone page, if it was from another aggregator, again, without digging deeper into where those testimonials are from, and this tool doesn't do that, I wouldn't be able to answer that. So again, we talked multiple times about social media. They weren't on social media either, or they didn't have a share button on their page for social media. Breaks down, how many people liked their page, when their last Twitter post was, and this has Foursquare on there as well. And this is the back end nuts and bolts that I was talking about. Internal links, the heading pages, outbound links, load time. I was at a conference a couple months ago, said for every second delay in load time for your website, you lose 11% of your traffic.
Wow.
So, yeah, and that goes back to the mobile friendly and mobile responsive. And the new thing now is AMP pages. Google's got an accelerated mobile pages initiative. You'll start to see it in the search results underneath the paid and before the local. It's the way that pages are structured so that they just pop up immediately. They're queued on Google's server and they pop up right away. So
What was that
that's
called?
accelerated mobile pages. It's AMP content. That might be too cutting edge for all of us. I don't know if that's going to take off or not. That's literally like
You'll have to give us your website address so we can like it and Twitter it.
Yeah,
and
there
do
you go.
this and that.
That's only 3 or 4 months old. So, from walking to running, all in 1 hour. So I know we covered a lot, and I hope I was able to accurately answer everyone's questions. If there's any additional questions, I'd be more than happy to say it.
You've mentioned social media several times, but I haven't heard you say LinkedIn.
Okay. Social
What-
media. LinkedIn is a social media.
Yeah, but I've heard you mention Facebook now. I've heard Facebook is great for business to consumer business, but we're business to business.
Sure.
So I kind of look at LinkedIn as Facebook for business to business.
So two strategies, definitely I think your purchasers, your decision makers, your managers in your industry would be able to, successfully be targeted through groups and sponsored postings on LinkedIn. The backside of that coin would be, these are all people who have families that are probably engaging in Facebook after hours. So you'd have 2 opportunities to capture them, and you could structure the timing of your sponsored ads accordingly. Run one 8 to 5 and one 6 to 10.
So if I were to hire you to do some of the marketing for me, or we were to say, hey, let's just help the piano later out, she just wants to get her name up to the top and keep maintaining it, I would assume like you do, you present it at a certain price range or by hourly?
Sure, so the way,
Then a follow-up, like kind of every 6 months to see what your target is, because you're saying you're hitting the start, but you start off and maybe it's not working, you adjust again and again, correct?
yeah, no, it's an ongoing process. It's again, so if you get started in social media and you get some trending signals upward and then you don't post for 6 months, that's now you're sending someone to a content graveyard that hasn't been updated, and that poorly reflects on your business. So it's not something that you want to start unless it's, a path that you're going to pursue. Minimum engagement for us is 6 months, and, we've structured the social media engagements as 3 to 5 weekly posts with 1 unique article, 6 to 10 weekly posts with 2 unique articles, or 11 to 15 weekly posts with 3 unique articles, and that goes 600, 800, 1,000 a month. So it is, it's a ton of time. You think about every post isn't just, hey, what a nice day it is, right? You gotta tailor it, you gotta tie it to the content, you gotta create and edit the image, you gotta upload and then track and report.
And then put it across all of your social media sites and tweak them slightly to be interesting.
So somebody who doesn't have any money, literally, or they've got like $200, literally.
Sure.
Is it still wise for them to utilize websites?
I would say there are some people in my industry that think if you don't have a website, you'll be out of business in 5 years. So I think a website needs to be a strong part of your traditional or digital marketing strategy. So without a doubt, a website. How else is somebody, are you tirelessly networking across multiple organizations and geographies?
No, it's for
Okay,
somebody else.
Your website is 24/7 availability and
Yeah.
can be found at a moment's notice. So yeah, I think it's a business necessity.
So if you're selling a product,
Which is my intention.
I don't have much to say about it. What am I gonna say every week?
Sure. So that is
Sales are good.
this is a similar challenge I run into manufacturers representatives. Oh, my product isn't interesting, etc. Well, are you a manufacturer of the product, or are you getting the product from someone else? So there's either volumes of content, or you create content about how it's used, training videos, people enjoying it. Content is never the shortfall. There's always content that can be created. And it is a creative venture in creating content, but that should never be the reason that you get started.
So it's like you sold the product, who you sell it to, how are you enjoying it, what their uses are, and basically those testimonials is what desire you. And then it's just continuing to show that. 'Cause then it networks.
How about an app, and how does that influence your ranking on any of this? We haven't really.
Sure, so
talked about-
apps, I heard
There's an app for that.
good idea about apps. So average individual regularly engages in 7 apps. So let's say Gmail, Facebook, World Newspapers, NPR, BBC, 2 for my kids, let's say. So there's 7. How are you going to break into that? What are you going to offer that's different versus just having a website, a different strategy? Because app development is very very expensive. So
Well, I suppose you could market your app just like you would market a website.
sure, without a doubt, and it's just a matter of, again, what's going to be that standalone principle that makes me download and regularly engage in your app.
Is it one of those things like it was really hot when they first came out because it was different, and now like everyone has an app, it's like having a blog.
Well,
Nobody cares.
there's not, I'm going to have a marketing app, and maybe there's going to be a new blog post on it every day, and I'm going to share it across social media, and people are going to get, either going to sign up to my RSS feed or they're not. So what portion of that versus, larger news aggregators in the marketing sphere? And really, am I going to be able to be competitive in that industry is how you have to pursue that.
Well, you may not use it every day, but let's just say if you were a pizza place or something like that, well, you got an app, so I'm gonna order pizza, so you're gonna click that app whenever you're gonna use it, or when you're gonna buy real estate, you're gonna click my app, right?
Sure, and so I may use that, I may use it for a short time, and then it may fall off. So is the additional investment and return on that investment warranted, is the business question you have to ask yourself.
I have a question on, like using an alias, I don't wanna sound weird, but like what if you didn't wanna put your own real name on all this stuff? Would you create an identity and use that consistently? I know that from what you said, but what are the pros and cons or that?
that?
Well, you know, in order to create some, like a business page, you have to tie it to a personal profile. So, you know, a business page, you could have an admin contact or info contact. It doesn't have to be tied to a specific name.
And looking at your website, it looks like you built your own website. You didn't use a standalone website, or did you spend a lot of time researching and taking your website to support?
So I navigated all web development into WordPress about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And WordPress has tools called Yoast for SEO, which is a phenomenal tool. And it's, I don't hire an external developer for my web work, I do it myself.
I saw that, I can see that on your
So
website.
it,
There's a lot more work and a lot more effort.
yeah. Yes?
Think Joomla has something similar to Yoast?
I don't. I would imagine, or some competing similar.
Because Joomla and WordPress would be like different platforms.
Yeah, different.
What, with the consistency thing, I was just thinking about like social media, like profiles for your business. Like sometimes it's very difficult to get the same name throughout. What do you recommend in that case? Just find something, if it has to be whatever, blah, 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 with numbers at the end, and that makes it unique. Do that so you're consistent? What do you recommend at that point?
I recommend researching your name before
Okay.
you engage on that. It's, that's problematic. It's tough to overcome.
Okay, all right.
So if I were to follow your website, I should be able to see you like doing an article once a week and or once a month, and
Once
it's the
a
same things
month.
you're talking about. I mean, the concept is that I'm gonna mirror you, and if you post one, then I should be posting one, and that basically, when you have all these great tips on your website and you're showing different things, and it's really great tool, and we appreciate you being here, so thank you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Can we stay after a little bit?
Yeah.
So, thanks for coming, everyone. Just
Thank
gonna
you.
stick around if you guys have other questions, but hopefully it demystified some of the craziness of SEO. I didn't realize how crazy SEO was until this presentation, you know, it's really deep, so.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
Good. This is my turn.
Glad you did. That's always my goal.
I have a client who has literally.
Not Yoast, oh, accelerator,
He said
something
accelerated.
before that. It was,
Oh, accelerated.